Your Excellency Leopoldo Francisco Sahores, Chairman and members of the Board of Governors, Assalamu alaikum, buenos dias, and good morning. It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to welcome you, Excellency, to the Board of Governors of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. It is the second time that you are with us. Earlier on, he was with us on a meeting on Zoom during COVID-19 period. He was with us, and it was a great pleasure when he told us a lot about the trade and other communication between Argentina and Pakistan. To those members who were not, normally I introduce Karachi Council on Foreign Relations, but you know it very well, so I will not go through that procedure. And we all know, except for a few, and those who do not know, I would like to tell them that he had a brilliant academic career, and after that academic career, he did his Master on Environment and Development from Australian National University. Then he joined the Foreign Service. He's a career diplomat. He held very important positions in the Foreign Ministry. He has been to Australia, Brazil, Environmental Division, Mercosur National Division, Deputy Chief of the Mission in Brazil, and then he was Under Secretary, like the Secretary we have in for the Americas, Additional Secretary that we have like him in the Foreign Service Office. Then now he was appointed in 2021 as the Argentinian Ambassador to Pakistan. Excellency, today's program will be that we are looking forward to your address, and after the address, our chairman will give you his concluding remarks, and before that we'll have brief question and answer sessions.
Perfect.
Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, and good morning. It's a privilege to be once again with the Karachi Council of Foreign Relations, and this time a presential one, and in this fantastic venue. I'm feel very privileged and honored to be here in such a historic place, not only for Karachi but for the whole country. So it's an honor for us. I'm with Mr. Camilo Silver-Casten. He's our Deputy Head of Mission and Trade Attaché. We arrived in Karachi on Sunday evening, and we've been having very productive meetings with government officials, companies, and other institutions, and we will stay till today in the evening. So it's been very productive, as I've said, and lots of opportunities both in the private sector and cooperation with government in Sindh and Karachi in particular. So I'm going to go into more formal setting, if you allow me. So I hope, I mean, those who were present in the Zoom might recall a few things that I'm going to tell right now, but overall I think it's good to go back to these concepts. So thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to all the members of Board of Governors of the Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. It's a pleasure to be here once again. So last year we had this webinar in December. By that time I was relatively new, only 7 months. So now it's been more than a year and 5 months. So I have a better picture of Pakistan and what Pakistan has to offer to the world, and in particular to Argentina, and how we can become closer partners. Last year we were celebrating 70 years of diplomatic relations with Pakistan, and the idea, the topic of last year webinar was about future aspirations in the bilateral relations. So from this that webinar in December last year till now, I think we have managed to identify precisely what those challenges are and how we can work towards achieving those challenges and make a sound relationship with Pakistan. So relations with Pakistan have turned 71 years this October this year. it was decided in 1951 to establish bilateral relationships between both countries. This was concluded through an exchange of notes in Washington, D.C. And later in 1551, a presidential decree by the president in Argentina approved the establishment of the consulate in Karachi. So the consular was mandated to find the premises for the future embassy. So at the beginning we were interacting with Karachi authorities and later on with in Rawalpindi. And the embassy opened in Islamabad on January the 1st, 1968. Of course, you might be aware of a landmark moment in the relationship between Argentina and Pakistan, and that was back in '71. That was on the occasion of the adoption of a Security Council resolution number 303, a process in which Argentina played a crucial role. At that moment, the UN Security Council was unable to pronounce itself due to the veto of the former Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and it was unable to pronounce on the situation arising from the armed conflict between Pakistan and India and the following independence of former Eastern Pakistan. So the Argentine delegate to the UN Security Council at that moment, who was a prominent Argentine diplomat, was determined to make every effort to halting the military conflict and preventing the intervention of big international players in the subcontinent. And he did so by resorting to the Union for Peace resolution from 1950, which enables the intervention of the General Assembly when the Security Council fails to exercise its primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security, because there was a lack of unanimity from its permanent members. So this was one of the 10 emergency sessions in which the General Assembly has been convened under the Union for Peace resolution. As a result, the UN General Assembly resolution was adopted, recommending an immediate ceasefire and the withdrawal of the troops and returns of refugees. And as a demonstration of appreciation from the Pakistan government to the Argentine government, in 1973, a park was called Argentine Park in Islamabad, in a very central area of the capital. And last year I had the pleasure with then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mahmoud Qureshi, to be in a ceremony, a tree plantation ceremony, to commemorate 7 decades of friendship between our two countries. And let me tell you that in the 70s, while you were experiencing this situation with India and Bangladesh, Argentina was experiencing lots of issues and troubles with neighboring countries, both Brazil and mainly Brazil and Chile. In 1978, Argentina was at the brink of a war with Chile. And there were a lot of tensions and misunderstanding and lack of trust between Argentina and Brazil. Both countries were at that moment already had a nuclear energy, were capable of developing nuclear energy, of course for peaceful uses. But there was still this lack of trust between both countries. But efforts from both sides, Argentina and Brazil and Argentina and Chile, plus mediation of international figures like the Pope in 78, prevented the war with Chile and paved the way for a long-standing and beneficial relationship with Brazil. So in the mid-80s with Brazil, we set up what is being a success case, the ABAC, which is an Argentine-Brazilian agency for accounting and control of nuclear materials, in order to guarantee that nuclear energy is used for peaceful purposes. So this is, I think, a very successful case where we can share our experience and draw some conclusions. Because, as I said, we were having these very difficult issues with neighboring countries and friendly countries. And of course, Brazil and Chile are Brazil is the largest trade partner of Argentina, and Chile ranks in the first 5 countries. Because I mean, Argentina and Brazil are the largest countries in South America. Argentina is the 3rd largest economy in Latin America, being Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. And because we were able to build a relationship of trust and confidence between both governments, Argentina and Brazil set the founding stone for what later became the Mercosur in 1991. Mercosur is an economic common market, Brazil and Argentina being the largest partners, and also includes Paraguay, Uruguay. Venezuela is also part of Mercosur. It joined later on, but because of political circumstances, its participation has been suspended since 2017, but it remains a partner. And Bolivia is in the process of becoming a full member. So Mercosur it's been more than 30 years already. Trade between Argentina and Brazil, the main partners, has increased tenfold since those days. Brazil is one of the main investors in Argentina. So I think this is a success case as I've said, success story, and something that maybe can be of interest from institutions like yours to draw some lessons, bearing in mind the subcontinent context. Just to give you a glimpse, yesterday, a few days back on Monday, we had a meeting with the Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and one of the questions, issues that arose there was whether Argentina and Pakistan have a free trade agreement, or whether that's possible. And Argentina, the way that Argentina relates to other countries in terms of trade is through Mercosur. It's a little bit like the EU. So EU negotiates agreements as a bloc. Mercosur negotiates agreements as a bloc as well. And by the way, Pakistan was interested in this. We had some talks. This is something on the agenda. So just to go quickly, we see a lot of shared values and common positions in multilateral forum. We thank the constant support of Pakistan for the resumption of negotiations between Argentina and the United Kingdom in order to find a peaceful and definitive solution to the sovereignty dispute related to the Malvinas Island. You might, of course, recall of the '82 war between the UK and Argentina. And we are very grateful because Pakistan, I think it's currently head of the G77 plus China group, and was very supportive in an adoption of a resolution this year on the Malvinas Island matter. So from those early days till today, interaction between both countries was mostly focused on multilateral issues. A great deal of understanding and agreement on global topics like climate change, South-South cooperation, trade and development, which continue until today. And on top of that, there has been an institutional framework to develop a bilateral agenda. From our webinar experience till now, lots of things have happened in the global arena. We have the Ukraine situation, which has triggered this hike in energy prices, and Pakistan is currently suffering the consequences. Let me tell you that Argentina, and this has an impact on food supply and commodities, and let me tell you that Argentina can actually benefit and can help countries like Pakistan to overcome this situation. Argentina, because we are a huge agriculture country, we could feed up to 400 million people We have the resources and the land and crops enough to provide this kind of support. We have huge gas reserves, but of course we are, like Pakistan, we are very dependent on investment, on foreign investment. So there's a project to build a pipeline from these non-conventional gas reserves, but we need this investment to both build the pipeline and then build a LNG processing plant. Once we have that in place, we will be able to stop, like you, importing LNG, which in our case is much more expensive than yours because of distance. But this current crisis is also a window of opportunity for Argentina. So there's a lot of expectations from global players, being the US and EU, on the potential of Argentina. And because of Argentina and Latin America is a peace area. There's a peaceful region. There is no any war hypothesis amongst our countries. So I just mentioned that we had an institutional framework to develop the bilateral agenda, lots of agreements on cooperation on various fields, which were negotiated between 1983 until 2014. But I regard myself as a practical person. I like to set targets and try to work towards achieving those targets and delivering. So I'm a little bit reluctant, although it's important to have this institutional framework, it's more important to achieve outcomes. So what we have decided, or that's what I try to be my footprint on this tenure, is trying to identify concrete cooperation projects between both countries and starting to build business-to-business connections. I think it's preferable to have these business-to-business contacts and then set up chambers of commerce and business forums. I think it's more important to work on concrete projects. Trade between both countries remains low, and I think there's a lot of potential to increase it. This year, I think we should be around both ways, $177 million, which is not a lot. It's surpluses on our side. We mainly export commodities to your country. Though there are some niche markets and some niche exports for pharma products. And of course from Pakistan we mainly import textiles, and there's some sports goods and some surgical equipment where I think there's lots of opportunities for Pakistan. Last time in a webinar we were discussing about how Argentina can help Pakistan to become a more efficient agricultural country. When we look at world ranks, Pakistan ranks on top 10, top 5 when it comes to milk production, beef production, cattle, whatever. But of course there are some issues about productivity and efficiency. That's why you are so dependent on imports of commodities. So last time I was talking about Argentine's grain storage solutions. We have been working very closely with the Punjab government, the federal government through PASCO. But I think we are going to find in Sindh authorities and the Pakistan Trade Corporation and private partners in Sindh and Karachi the right people to bring this technology to Pakistan. And there's a lot of another area where I think Argentina, being an agricultural country, can help Pakistan is in foot and mouth disease control, which affects cattle. and this is what prevents Pakistan to become a net beef exporter, because you have all the potential, but you have this disease. We had the disease back in Argentina, but we were able, I think 20 years ago, to eliminate eliminate this disease. There are some Argentine companies who manufacture FMD vaccine, so we are in talks with a government and private partners here to see whether we can bring this vaccine and start selling it. But this is not about just exporting product. This is about joint ventures and Argentine companies coming into Pakistan, because Pakistan has a huge market, domestic market, a growing domestic market, and also it's not only Pakistan, it's surrounding areas, and we have to take advantage of all the logistical, the corridors that Pakistan is working on to connect with Central Asia. So, and of course, this is not about only about trade. We have to promote our culture, and we and our Pakistani diplomat colleagues, we have to work together also to promote Pakistani culture in Argentina, because this is not just one way, it's double way. There's, I think nobody knows about Argentine arts in Pakistan, hardly knows about Argentine literature. So we are planning, I hope, to bring writers from Argentina to the Lahore Literary Festival, which will take place next February. And I'm also talking to the Lahore Biennial exposition, which will take place, I think, in late 2023, beginning of 2024. This time around, I haven't had the chance to meet cultural organizations in Karachi, but next time I will definitely want to meet them. So if you have any ideas on how we can collaborate with festivals, cultural festivals in Karachi, I would be very glad to hear from you, because Karachi is a huge city. You have a, I understand that film industry and is mainly concentrated in Karachi, so I think there's a lot of room for cooperation with Pakistan from Karachi on the cultural scene. And there's also, we want to help to make the Spanish a more spoken language in Pakistan. This is a very difficult task. So far, there's just one university where Spanish is taught as a foreign language. It's in Islamabad. So we are trying to encourage other universities. Again, if you have any ideas or suggestions about universities in Karachi or more broadly in Sindh, where they can start teaching Spanish, it would be fantastic. Spanish is an official UN language. More than 50 million people are speaking Spanish in the US, and I think Spanish is the second or third largest language spoken on the internet these days. And I would leave it here. Of course, person-to-person contact is very important. I wish we could promote and bring more tourists from Argentina and vice versa. Sports is another way to make to connect people to people, people from both countries. Of course, we are a very renowned football country, and we are there's a project in which we are working to bring female football players to Argentina, to Pakistan, to train female football players in Pakistan, especially in deprived areas. So I think that would be another a successful case of people-to-people connection and better understanding. So I thank you so much, and I'm sorry because of the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellency. I think we'll have some questions. Pakistan and Argentina have so many things in common. Vis-a-vis relationship with the neighbors, Malvinas, etc. We have seen so many ups and downs over there, and Pakistan will ever remain grateful to you for your help to Pakistan in UN over Kashmir issue. And the commonality is, one of the main commonality is we have a great burden of loan from IMF. And
yes,
you, and
yes.
you too have a very similar loan. And how did
Bigger,
you,
bigger, much bigger.
much bigger.
45,
what is the total
47
quantity? And
billion.
You were able to. I know you are still repaying, and you had a default also in between. And
that was back in 21. Yes.
And how you are handling it?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have these negotiations rounds like you have. I think our current program is same as old as yours. It was started in 2018. Yours was 2018 or 2019. Much bigger, as I've said. So we have these periodic rounds and negotiations. So the money, in our case, the full amount of money was already released, not like yours that you have this tranche process. Of course, IMF has a lot of conditions, lots of structural reforms that we have to undertake. I think that you are being more successful in introducing those reforms. We are lagging behind. Political situation in Argentina is very evolving, I would say. I quite feel some. I quite relate to Pakistan when it comes to politics, because I listen to here to colleagues from Europe or some other countries, developed countries. There's no dull moment in Pakistan. Let me tell you, there's no dull moment in Argentina. So negotiation with IMF, I think we have already passed the second quarter review, and we are heading for the coming one. But we have very tough targets.
Thank you. We have, he is one of our trade specialist, trade and business. Mm-hmm. He is chairman of a number of such societies and organizations. Member of our board of governors too, Mr. Farooq Afzal.
Excellency, thank you very much for being with us and for your very comprehensive report on the Argentina exhibition. Unfortunately, we do not have that much trade relationship with you, and you didn't have anything to tell us that what is the success story of trade between Pakistan and Argentina, which lacks a lot actually. In order to improve this, what we would like to have favor from you, to exchange of trade delegations. Unless we have frequent trade delegations, between two countries, we will not be able to know about each other. Secondly, we can have also, the exchange of students for the education. It's a matter of knowing each other's culture and the education system and the people. Because once we have good people-to-people contact, the trade relations and other relations will grow also. So why don't you also support for the formation of the business forum, which can also look after the cultural activities, and we can arrange that. Under this umbrella, we know how to do that. Okay. So, and as far as the trade is concerned between Pakistan and Argentina, which is hardly $177 million, and $131 million we are importing from you, and about $14 million we are exporting from Pakistan. There's a great potential for your products in Pakistan as well. Seed for soybean, for wheat, and for maize, for the seeds which you are exporting. And Pakistan, as you already mentioned, sports goods, surgical goods, textiles, you have so much duty on made-ups actually there. We are exporting fabrics only, certain yarns and the fabrics, because you are protecting you. So why can't we have a PTA, not FTA at the moment, with the help of you, so that you can convince your trade bloc, this Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, to have that relationship with us, PTA. This will, of course, have enforcement in all these countries as well, because once that bloc approves, so they will also basically get. So can you help us in having this kind of PTA?
I mean, it would also be interesting if you could lobby Brazilian embassy here as well, because as I've said, we, as a bloc, we have to negotiate together. And decisions when it comes to start negotiations are made on by consensus. But yes. Actually, we had after a few years without a formal consultation setting in 2021 last year, we had a trade and commercial commission with government officials from both sides, talking about the bilateral agenda, and that point was there.
So can you send him to Karachi so that we can also engage, help him for the meeting with the business community?
I think we need to follow it up.
Yep.
Next question from Dr. Azim Akbar. He's an oil specialist. He's done his life into the oil provision, etc. He's an advisor in United Arab Emirates also.
Well, it was great to listen to you. I mean, you have really covered a lot of areas. I think Pakistan and Argentina have a lot in common. Not only the history, where you said that there never been a moment like ours.
I'm sorry, there's a saying in Argentina, I cannot, I don't know if that can be said of Pakistan, that everything changes by the day. No? I mean, but if you leave Argentina and come back 20 years later, public opinion is discussing the same issues like 20 years ago. I don't know if that also applies to
a certain
Pakistan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think coming to the commonalities, I think agriculture is an area where we can have a lot of cooperation and a lot of input from each other. Particularly as Argentina, like Pakistan, is basically an agriculture country. Now it is obviously developing in other areas also. Now agriculture basically is now suffering because the population is increasing and you feed a lot of people. So you have to increase the agricultural production. But agricultural production is going down because of certain things, like the land use and like excessive water use and this sort of things. There are also a lot of technology which have been developed to improve the agricultural yield and control and all these things. I'm basically a technologist, so I'm looking into all these areas where technology can bring revolution and solution to the problems which we are having now and we can have in the future. So I think this is an area where Pakistan and Argentina can really cooperate together, work together to work out these things and help each other in that. Because that is one of the main things. The other thing which personally I was very interested from my student days, I was a fan of Maradona. and I think we are, our football is used in the World Cup football tournament.
Yes.
But we don't have a good football team. Whereas Argentina has won the World Cup. So I think this is an area where I would like Argentina to help us in developing our football.
Well, we have received a lot of requests and we are working towards that end.
I mean, there is a lot to discuss, but I would like to...
Thank you. I think Excellency has to visit the museum and then he has to go for a meeting.
Okay.
And so therefore, may I now request you, sir, for your concluding remarks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
We feel very honored by your presence today. And in fact, we've been looking forward to it for some time because we met many months ago and we had worked out a platform of things as to how we would go on, especially on the agriculture side and the livestock and so on. So I was going to try and ask you on some questions on that. Before I do that, on the lighter side.
Yes.
I came to know from our Secretary General here that in your visit to Karachi, you wanted to have a look at the Quaid-e-Azam Museum. So I was delighted to hear that. He went across and asked the curator that you'll be coming here on so-and-so date and so on and so forth. And he said, but that's a Wednesday. So he said, yes, it's a Wednesday. So we are closed on Wednesday. So our secretary doesn't take no for an answer, as you might have learned by now. So he said, no, but we've got to do something about it because he's coming here on a Wednesday. You've got to do something. He said, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. So he said, look, Argentina is a great friend of Pakistan. And we have to do something about it to show the ambassador the Quaid-e-Azam's place. And he said, look, if you want to know the something about Argentina. It is 7 times the size of France. They have 46 million people. We have a good trade going on with them, and they're very fond of Pakistan because they made a park in the center of Buenos Aires called Plaza de la Pakistan.
Yeah.
And we immediately had a park made in Islamabad, which is called the Argentina Park.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of going on between us, and you stand in between him and the Quaid-e-Azam. It's just the way you mentioned it, I can't say no. I can't say no. So you must bring him here. So he's waiting for you on the
I
other
feel
side.
very obliged. Thank you so much. Thank you so
So he
much.
simply said that
And I'm going to apologize to the curator.
it is based on away from the eyes, not from the heart. We have a distance a lot of. Yes, Your Excellency, we will have a gift of a directly 5,000 years old Ajam.
Oh.
At the end. At the end.
Now, I was very happy to hear the tour of the horizon that you did about the entire spectrum of things that you discussed just now. And I was so happy to hear some of the things have come up again, which came up last time as well when you were here. And primarily, as you know, that we are an agricultural country, which is appointed out by him. And there are a lot of things that we have to learn from the Argentinians because they've got a tremendous research program going on food security. I know that for a fact. And the wheat production, etc., is something very, very important for us as it is for them. So they've done a tremendous amount of work. I was just going to request His Excellency to tell us, was there any discussion on the research that you're doing with our people on the agricultural aspects
This visit was mainly about listening from private sector and government of sector what the needs are.
Okay.
And once we have those areas clearly identified, then we are going to do our research home and put them in touch with
with the business councils, etc., which my colleague here is noting down, because we are going to take this up with the council.
Okay.
The council on the subject, so that they can then progress on that, because we need some joint ventures on
Yes,
this.
yeah, absolutely.
Because at the moment that's what's lacking, is joint ventures on research that's already been done by you,
Yes.
which we can now practice, especially in wheat production, for example.
Yeah.
You're reaching the heights in wheat production. We are not. So these are the things that we have to do, convey it to our people, who can then converse at the government level, and we can start moving on that.
Yeah.
Because this is something that is very close to all of us.
Yes,
Agriculturally,
yes.
most of us are agricultural sitting. I'm a part-time farmer too, of sorts, but all the same. Livestock is another one. We continuously suffer with diseases of all sorts in the livestock.
Yep.
Even now there's one going on in Sindh at the moment, and we are losing so much of cattle, we're losing so much of things that it's not very good. You have done a lot of research on diseases on the livestock,
Yep.
which I'd like to learn from that, because we are having regularly, every year, the livestock in Sindh especially gets destroyed by these diseases that are coming up. So did somebody take this up with you in the government on the diseases
Yes,
aspect?
yes. Well, by the way, actually we're going to meet livestock minister after this meeting, I think. So I'm sure there will be some.
Okay, that's tremendous. These
He will shed more light on this. Yes.
Okay.
But
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to add further to this. I think that let us maybe today we can decide that this is an area where we need to
yes.
put more emphasis, and maybe Karachi Council of Foreign Relations can initiate something.
We can be a facilitator in
Yeah.
that,
Facilitator.
because we have Farooq Abdul sitting here, with a very experienced person on this, and he and I have just been discussing all this. We must have a filtration coming through us straight away, so we can, because this discussion took place last year as well. To a certain extent, we can now move on from that. As he says, we've got to move, set up a target, and then move ahead. And we can act as a facilitator by moving these people on that score. Because what I keep on insisting on is transfer of technology, because technology in agriculture becomes so vast now, as you know, that we are still at the primitive stage.
Yeah.
So we have to do something on that score as well.
Not only transfer, but also cooperation in research.
Yes. Yes.
Because there is a lot of
Absolutely.
research.
Well, yesterday we had a
Follow
very.
it up. We'll follow it up
Yeah.
with you and with them.
Yes.
Embassy.
Allow me, I also would like to make a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Now, please, I have 240 acres of land, and I have used 90 acres for a boarding school for boys, and I have allocated 100 acres for a university. And I understand, Excellency, Argentina is interested in setting up a university in Karachi. So this is an ideal place we will give you the land free of cost.
Yeah. No, well, I was talking about Spanish being talked in Spanish. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Spanish can
Yes.
be taught.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
on
And
the
the language.
Yep.
sorry, sir, on the education side, we have made some memorandums of understanding with universities
Yes.
world over. So we would also certainly like to have some sort of an MOU perhaps with one of your institutions which is on the same level that we are doing on foreign relations or whatever.
Yep.
So that we can act, you know, as the university level conversation with our university
Yeah.
level is an important thing that we have.
Yeah.
Now we have MOUs with our local universities here,
Yeah.
and we could put them in touch with your universities
Yeah.
there, so that they can converse with each other and gain by that.
And also connect with think tanks in Argentina like yours.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
of course
Think
very
tank,
important.
yes.
That's very important.
Think tank.
If you can put us in touch
Yep.
with them,
Yep.
I'd be most grateful. But there's a lot of things that I wanted to talk about also, but I won't because I haven't got time. Because
But
the person there's
Just one final thing. Success stories. I hope this will be a success. But after our webinar, and we came to learn this yesterday, we had a very productive meeting with a pharma company here, and they have been talking to an Argentine company, and they might be able to register 6 vaccines for livestock very
Brilliant.
soon. So
Brilliant.
this is an
Brilliant.
example.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
That's a good start. I wish we could take that on there onwards.